Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. Have you ever wondered who Khidr was, the mysterious figure that Moses journeyed to meet? Was he a man, a prophet, or something else? The Quran mentions him, but doesn't say much about him. We're going to be looking at that now as part of our Misunderstood Quranic Verses series. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
The verse we're dealing with is chapter 14, verse 65, 18, verse 65, Dr. Shabir, and it goes like this. There they found one of our servants, whom we had blessed with mercy from us, and unto whom we had imparted knowledge of our own. This is the Safi Kaskas version of the verse, or translation of the verse, Dr. Shabir. So, what does this mean, and what does it say about Khidr?
Yeah, so it doesn't name him.
Yes.
The name Khidr comes from Islamic tradition. And so who was this figure, and what was his name? This becomes the mystery.
So no verse that mentions him names him at all?
Yeah, no verse names him at all. It just says, in this particular verse, it says, Abdan min ibadina, one of our servants. Ataynahum rahmatan min indina. We gave him some mercy from us, and wa'allamnahu min ladunna ilma. And we taught him some knowledge from ourselves. So was he a man? Or was he an angel? And in case he was a man, what level of authority did he have? Was he a prophet, a messenger of God, or was he a saint, or just simply a righteous person? And we have a spectrum of opinions in the classical Quranic commentaries about this. Maududi died 450 of the Hijra, so in the middle of the 5th century of the Islamic reckoning. Mentioned that there were two opinions. One, that he was an angel, and two, that he was a human being. But that opinion that he was an angel seems to have been largely forgotten in the classical tafsir tradition. Tafsirs are like this, Safiya, that, a tafsir is written. Another tafsir comes to be written later on, expanding on the previous one. So we have a larger one, and then another one comes to expand on the previous one, so that becomes even larger still, until, the tafsirs become so bulky, so huge, that one craves, a summarized version. And so sometimes people write summarized versions of the longer ones, or they write an entirely new one, but one can see that this is almost like a summary of the previous ones. So what happens then is an idea is found in one tafsir, tends to be replicated in the others. But sometimes a new idea enters, and that too is replicated. Sometimes an old idea is dropped for no reason, just because maybe one scholar who was writing at a particular juncture didn't see it fit to include that one, and others copy from that later one. And so the idea, once dropped, remains dropped until a later researcher goes back and says, well, wait a minute, there was this idea, let me mention it again. So that idea comes to be mentioned by Ibn Kathir, who died in the middle of the 8th century. So for 400 years, tafsirs are being written and written. This idea is still not mentioned. So Ibn Kathir mentioned it again, and he credited Maududi with having mentioned it previous to him. But then Ibn Kathir says, God knows best what he was. He couldn't decide. But to me, the matter is so simple that he had to be an angel, and rather than a human being. And I'll explain why. Sayyid Abul-Ala Maududi, in his Tafhim al-Quran, he went to great lengths to defend the view that it must have been an angel or some other creature, some other type of being, not a human being, because human beings, according to him, and he's correct, would be subjected to the laws of the world. You cannot, for example, as Khidr goes, he finds a boy and he kills the boy. So the human beings would be subjected to the laws of this world. You cannot just go kill a person. And if somebody says, well, I'm a prophet, I got a divine inspiration to go and kill that person, everybody would look askance at him like, is he really getting a genuine revelation? Or, he's just simply convinced in his own mind that he's supposed to kill this person, because everybody will see that this is wrong. You can't do that. But on the other hand, if an angelic being is taking the life of a person, well then, this is old story. This is what is mentioned in the Quran. This is known that God, commands his angels to take the lives of individuals. First of all, there is the mention of Malakul Maut, the angel of death. And by extension, there are other angels too. Tawafathul Malaika. So the Quran says the angels take their souls, right? The idea that he was an angel, this makes a lot of sense given the actions that this individual performs. And while Sayyid Abul Maududi is saying an angel or some other being, I don't think we need even the some other being. The simple thing is that he was an angel. Now, this explains a lot, because if you say he was a human being, not only is there the problem of how does he conform or his actions conform to the laws of the land, but there is the problem of how Musa, alayhi salam, a prophet of God, one of in the highest ranks, is following another human being. So what would be this other human being? So some say, well, that means that he has to be a prophet. And obviously, he would have to be a prophet of a slightly higher rank than Musa alayhi salam, because Musa alayhi salam then becomes his follower. Then you would have the question of, like, where was he a prophet to? Like, how does he mysteriously come in to be in the life of Musa alayhi salam? What else did he do? Where else was he a prophet? The simpler idea is that he was an angel, and as angels come to prophets to give them revelation, as the angel Gabriel came to our Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to give him revelations. Angels came to previous prophets, gave them revelations. This was an angel who came to Musa alayhi salam to give him some revelation, some knowledge that was bestowed on behalf of God to guide Moses so that he can become as strong a prophet and well-placed as he would be.
So, Dr. Shabir, you mentioned Maududi. What other tafsirs or what other commentators have mentioned that he could have been an angel?
Apart from these that I've already mentioned, I didn't find too many more, but then I didn't investigate that many tafsirs. But I in the few that I've investigated, I have not found many. Muhammad Asad, in his commentary, said that this was a sage. But he takes the whole thing as a sort of legend, and he would say the sage of this legend. We mentioned Safi Kaskas' translation. So in another verse, Safi Kaskas would render it such that the man who was with Moses. Now, of course, if he was an angel, he could still be a man, being an angel in human form. As Maududi also pointed out, in the Quran, jinns are called rijalun min al-jinn. So they're men from among the jinn. So calling him a man does not mean that he has to be physical flesh and blood like us necessarily. But moreover, we know from the Quran that the angel who appeared to Mary, فَتَمَثَلَ لَهَا بَشَرًا سَوِيًّا, he appeared to Mary as a perfect human being. So an angel could appear in the form of a human being, and this could have been the case. So you can call him a man, but be sure that he must have been an angel.
Interesting commentary, Dr. Brent. I never imagined that Khidr could be an angel, but thank you for sharing that with me.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiya and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.